us hand in hand, sooner than someday.
Hello and welcome back to Sooner Than Someday podcast.
Woohoo! Welcome back. What episode are we on now?
This is 4.
4. Wow. And we had a ton of complaints that people couldn't see us, so we started a video.
Did we really?
No. We don't have any comments, reviews, complaints, because we've only released one episode as of this point.
One, but
by this
two
time,
soon.
Hopefully you've heard another 2. So,
I would think so.
Yeah, if you're listening to this one and you haven't heard those,
Go listen.
yeah, but also welcome.
Welcome.
Hopefully this is a good first episode for you. I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything cumulative you're going to miss.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm Karis,
I'm Jeremiah, if you didn't know.
if you didn't know. And this is our podcast,
Yep.
where we like to talk about random things. Speaking of random,
Yes.
do you have
Oh,
a random topic for us?
I did not prepare for this.
What do you think of this?
In the half hour that we were setting up, I did not prepare.
That's okay. I have something.
You have something?
Yeah. Just in case you didn't prepare.
Well, it's not like I didn't do homework. We decided we were going to do it, and then we set up and started.
Yeah, that's true. All right, here's my what do you think random topic.
Okay.
Cereal is soup. Do you agree?
I know that there are cold soups, but I feel like they're their own category. I feel like soup is pretty much hot.
I disagree.
Why?
Because there are cold soups. And the definition of soup, when I think of a soup, it's like a liquid or like solids in a liquid. That sounds gross, but like a potato soup. You got potato chunks, you got the liquid, you eat it with a spoon in a bowl.
Okay.
Okay?
Could there be any definition to the solids?
No.
Any classification?
Any solid.
Meats,
Could be meat,
vegetables,
could be vegetables,
cheese.
could be cheese kind of turns into liquid though.
True, but
Or it could be grain,
what other grain soups are there?
rice. Uh-huh.
Rice and Fruit Loops just aren't. I guess there's Rice Krispies. I don't like cereal. Should not be a soup.
But it is.
It's like tomatoes a fruit. Here's the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
No.
No. No.
What is it?
Knowledge is knowing tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is you do not put tomato in a fruit salad.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
if you're having cereal, you're having soup for breakfast. The milk
just
is the liquid
it
base.
just doesn't sound right.
And the Fruit Loops, Rice Krispies, Mini Wheats, whatever you put in there, marshmallows.
Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
Trademark.
Sponsor us. That is the solids.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I don't know if I can argue with, but I am very against.
You're adamant about saying it's not.
It's just it can't be a soup. But water is wet.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
That's a whole nother topic.
Okay. Well, let us know what you think on both.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Is cereal a soup and is water wet? So there's a random topic of the day.
Yeah.
Random discussion.
Mm-hmm.
What is God teaching you recently to move into a more serious topic?
There's a real flip in
Yeah.
topic.
Do
what
our
is
normal,
God teaching me?
our usual segment.
Let's see. Well, our church just started a series on prayer, which I know has been something I need to increase in my life. I'm happy that I have the word consistently now. But I feel like, if you always breathe in and you never breathe out, you're going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to explode. So
Yeah.
I think that was a Spurgeon quote or something. Someone asked him if prayer or reading the Bible was more important. And he was like, what's more important, breathing in or breathing out?
Interesting.
So that's one thing that maybe because our church is starting to go through it, that will be what God starts teaching me. But
Yeah.
on a more fun fact, kind of fun experience reading the Bible note, and I was kind of talking with you about this. I'm in John right now,
I
and
thought you were in Luke.
no, I finished through Luke
Oh.
the other day. Well, so when I listen on my commutes, I fly through these.
Right,
Even if I listen back to 5 chapters, because my commute to work is so long, I cover so much ground when I listen to it. So I'll re-listen to it and stuff. But that's Sam and John now. And there's the part where Jesus heals a blind man, and the blind man goes to the Pharisees to show himself to them, and the Pharisees are like, they don't believe him. Like, you weren't blind from birth. You were faking it this whole time. Like, they call his parents there. They're standing in there. They're like, "Is this your son?" And they're like, "Yeah." And like, "Was he born blind?" "Yeah." And then they're like, "He's he's a man. Like, he's of age. He's
Ask
he's
him
grown
yourself."
up. Go ask him yourself." And so that's kind of funny. But then, so they ask the Pharisees ask the now not blind man again. They're like, "Tell us what happened." And he's like, "I already told you guys. Like, why do you want to hear this again?" And the way I imagine what he says next is, "Do you want to be his disciples too?" Like, and I just imagine their faces going like,
It's just a sigh and a forehead slap.
So pretty much. So I was listening in the car, laughed out loud because I just had this visual in my head of the Pharisees just getting incredibly frustrated.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have a deep thing that I'm learning about spiritually at the moment, which maybe, and I think there's a discussion to be said, should you always have something on your mind? I think you should always be seeking, for sure. So I'm happy about having the word in my life for that purpose, but maybe that's where the prayer will come in. It's a two-way conversation.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, like, things I'm learning from what we were talking about, like in our first episode, I'm still learning.
Right.
So it's like, it's not something every day that's new. There might be like a little something new. Like, oh, like this guy did this in the Bible or something like that. But it's not like I don't think every day a revelation, like, oh my goodness, like, this is what's going on in my life, or I should start doing this.
Yeah. Because, I mean, how many podcasts have, like, what's the time frame we've recorded these 4 episodes in? It's been
A month
or two. Yeah. Maybe just over a month. So, yeah, those seasons can last a long time.
Yeah.
When God told Noah he was going to flood the earth, I don't have the number off the top of my head. I know it was many, many years.
Many years. He became a very old man.
Yeah. I thought he's probably an old man when he started, and then there's old men, and then there's ancient men in the Old Testament.
Ancient men who are like 800 years old.
Yeah. But the fact that, like, God told him years and years and years and years and years, and we're talking biblical, I don't know if it was more than 100 years or not, but a long time proportions, and he just had to stick with what God said. It's like, hey, build a boat. The earth is going to get flooded. He was the town kook.
Yeah.
He was the crazy one.
Yeah.
And however many years later, you probably hear the banging of all those other people on the door of the ark. I don't know what got me into this.
I don't know either. Oh,
What were we talking
you can be learning something like the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Over a long time.
seasons.
So, so Noah was obeying God for that whole time.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that full circle. I was about to fizzle out real bad.
I'm so confused. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh. Yeah, I guess we've been talking about like prayer and fasting a lot. And last week at church, our pastor was talking about fasting and actually went deep into why we should fast, how we should fast, reasons we shouldn't be fasting for.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting because I've never really heard fasting taught about.
Yeah.
And it's just never really been a part of my faith, and I've never really done fasting. But this sermon was really cool to just see why we should fast and what that can do to grow us closer to God and just to open our hearts and ears to hear what He is wanting us to do.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like taking a distraction away in a sense.
Yeah. Not only that it's a distraction, but also a refocus on God is your source for everything. Provider, and in this case, even nourishment. Like, I am willing to give up nourishment and actually be hungry. And every time I feel that I'm hungry or think about it, I'm going to be reminded that God is my source. And not that it was just for the sake of starving yourself, but that time that you would spend eating and rejuvenating yourself, you would spend in communion with God. So you're still having lunch. Your lunch is just your time with God, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
no, that's very interesting.
It was cool to hear it actually preached on in depth like that, because he did say it's like, it's not a commandment to fast and it's not a sin to not fast unless you feel convicted that you're supposed to be doing it.
Right.
Because that's a sin of disobeying and
Omission.
procrastinating. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jesus talks about fasting, expecting that people are doing it and going to do it. So it should be a part of our lives. So I have yet to actually do it on the food side of things. But
I've been fasting from social media now for a week.
yeah.
Which has been really nice because, like, it's kind of in the same vein as when I feel like I want to go on social media, like I'm bored, I just want to start scrolling or something.
Yeah.
I'll pray or, like, read my Bible or just kind of sit in silence.
Yeah.
Which has kind of been a refresh of my brain, just not filling it with all this dumb social media stuff.
Yeah.
It's been really nice.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure out when I'm going to do that.
Now is the time to start.
Now, apparently, it is.
Cool. Yeah, so it's kind of what God's been teaching us, I
in
suppose.
our lives, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to turn a little bit into what we're talking about in this podcast. And it's things we've learned from being married.
Yes.
We've just hit our 3-year mark.
Yeah.
Woo! We've been married for 3 years, and it's been fun. It's been filled with laughter, crying, stress, excitement, all of the emotions you can ever come by.
Yep.
So I thought it would be fun for each of us to put together a list of things we've learned from being married.
Sure.
We can kind of just, like, I'll do one, you do one.
Yeah.
And if it happens to be something similar on each other's list, we can just mention that.
We can just play off it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So the first thing I have, it's a little bit more of a serious one.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Starting off
Yeah.
swinging.
I wrote, having a similar idea of marriage and each person's roles in marriage is important. So,
yeah.
a wife and a wife has her roles, husband have their roles.
Yeah.
And being on the same page with that, even talking about that before marriage is very important to have I suppose you can say, healthy marriage
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah, because if you have different expectations that in any area, but this area specifically, that aren't addressed, you'll be in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
Then there's something you need to figure out and get on the same page on. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you and I had like very similar upbringings.
Yes.
In that regard.
And I think that helped us a lot because we didn't necessarily talk too much about it, I
Right.
guess you could say. Maybe we did a little bit.
It was brought up in our marriage counseling.
Yes,
which was great.
marriage counseling is so important to do before you get married.
because it did raise it not raise flags. That's the wrong phrase.
Oh, gosh.
That is the wrong. It did bring things to light that, like, hey, have you considered this? Our pastor at the time, he was like, my job is to basically convince you not to get married, and then if you still want to get married after we're done, you're good.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of take me off my high horse. Not high horse, but
Well, yeah, and kind of
Because I had a vision of marriage is going to be this great thing. Like, it's
This-
going to be all sunshine and rainbows.
blissful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are moments of that for sure.
Yeah. But anywho, so yeah, definitely important to know each other's roles. And so for us, we're definitely more traditional. So like, I'll take care of the cleaning, the laundry.
The house is your domain.
Yeah, the house is my domain. And so it's never been a question or like a fight we've had that, oh, someone didn't clean the house today. Someone
Yeah.
didn't do the laundry. Like,
Yeah.
because it's always been understood between both of us that I will do the laundry, which if there are people out there listening that are like, oh my gosh, like he's making her do all these house things, I love it. So,
Yeah. I didn't really have a chance
you know what?
to try.
I like cleaning. I like doing laundry. I just hate putting it away.
Yeah.
That's fine.
understandable.
We do share the dishes though.
We do
Sometimes
share the
I'll do dishes. Sometimes
And, yeah,
you do.
and not that these lines are hard drawn
Right.
stone walls. Like I'll help out cleaning the bathroom or doing
Yeah.
the dishes, like
Yeah.
you said, and I'll help you put away the laundry when we decide that we're sick of it sitting there.
Yeah, yeah. But
Because-
for the most part, I am
yeah,
taking care of the house, and maybe if I don't have time to do something, I'll just ask you to do it.
Yeah.
But I never expect you to do it.
yeah, and I don't expect you to be at work 40 hours a week, 40 plus hours a week.
Because that sounds awful.
Yeah. And so there you go.
Yeah.
So no, it works. I think
Yeah.
God has a design for men and women,
Yeah.
and not either one is more or less valuable or honorable. It's just we were designed for different things, and
Yeah.
so we perform better at different things.
Exactly.
And so living in God's design is always the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. What's on your list, your first thing?
I said marriage requires intentionality.
Ooh.
So, because it can
I
be
have to remind myself of what we have. Okay. It might go into one of my things, but
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, basically, it's so easy, especially when we have our routines and we have our extracurriculars, not the right word, but like our things that we do with friends or things we're involved
Hobbies.
in, hobbies and
Yeah.
church and whatnot. It's very easy to sit in a routine. When you get in your routines of life, it's so easy for days, weeks, months to pass without any growth kind of in either goals or just your relationship as it is. So, and like this is something we need to foster and care for and pour into like our relationship because it's going to last for our whole lives.
yeah.
So, and how that like decisions today can affect tomorrow, 5, 10, 20, 50 years down the line. And so, for example, like our date nights, one thing to bring up marriage counseling again,
That is one of my
this
things.
is one of your things.
Yep.
So, the date nights, like initially when we started, it was like, okay, we're gonna do a date, and like as you plan each date, you're planning the whole thing right then. And neither of us are very good at that. I don't think that's natural for us necessarily to plan something that we're about to do in the moment. But an exercise that our pastor had us do in marriage counseling was to make a list of different date ideas, different price ranges, different activities, going out, staying home, and then plan them out once a week for
Couple months.
3. Yeah, it's not hard to do 3 or 4 months.
No, it's not. If you're only doing like once a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can repeat some. You can think of something you would never really do, but then when the day comes, it's like you're not really thinking about, oh, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? It's like, oh, what's our date night tonight? And then we're just doing it to be with each other, whatever
Yeah.
it is we're doing. So it's kind of the same thing with that, or finances as we're starting to get into, and just being more intentional with that. It's so easy for things to fall into disarray, disorganization if
Yeah.
you're just not watching them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, going off of that weekly date nights thing, it's important, especially for us, because if we don't plan them out, then they just never happen.
Yeah.
And just with a busy lifestyle, or like we get into the groove of things, like we come home from work and
Yeah.
not really want to do much. So it's important to actually plan those dates out. And in my thing, I was mentioning weekly date nights are a great way to like spend time with each other and have intentional time together. But it's also a great way to like keep the quote unquote honeymoon phase going.
Yeah.
I put quotes around honeymoon because that's such a loose term, and like
Right.
some couples, they never lose the honeymoon phase, and it's
Yeah.
like you just want to keep the love going or whatever.
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah. And it's easier for some to keep it going than others. But yeah, the fact of the matter is that, like that, gosh, it feels horrible to say it fades, but like if you don't foster it.
Yeah, and if you're not
You-
doing dates and you have kids and like
Yeah.
it will probably fade a little bit.
Right, and
Like
so-
the love never goes away, but it's like
Yeah.
you just don't have time for each other and like
Well, and you wonder why, I mean, or it's no wonder why, I mean, marriage statistics are as bad as it's basically a 50-50 chance of
Yeah.
success or failure.
which is awful.
It's horrible to think about. And I mean, being 3 years into our marriage, I don't presume to know anything.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, you and I have had great examples growing up of successful marriages, and we just don't really see another option.
Yeah.
And so to have a realistic outlook of, hey, we need to choose to pour into this. Because if we just wait for the honeymoon feeling all the time, like it won't come naturally all the time. We have to put
Yeah.
ourselves in that mood, and that's what keeps people going
For sure.
for 50, 75 years.
Yeah.
It's a choice to love.
Yeah.
It's like to not to spiritualize everything, but like John 3:16, I think the translation literally is, in this way God loved the world, so that he gave his only son. So not that when it says for God so loved the world, not that God had this fuzzy warm feeling inside for all of us. On the contrary, all of us have rebelled and sinned against him and
Yeah.
are deserving of hell.
Yeah.
But the act of sending Christ to die for us was God loving us. That's how God loved us, kind of thing. So, and it's like love is an ability, love is an action,
Yeah.
love is something you do in spite of the other person,
Yeah.
kind of thing, in
So,
spite
like,
of yourself.
Soulmates, maybe not fully a real thing.
Yeah, unless you want to talk
like
about
destiny.
predestination.
Yeah.
Like you
Okay.
are my soulmate because we were predestined to
Okay.
be married. But that's another topic.
That's another topic.
Not everyone has them, you would argue. I'm sorry, I digress.
Yeah. Paul wasn't predestined to get married.
He was predestined to not get married. Apparently.
Yeah. Okay. Anywho. I say anywho a lot. I've
Anywho.
noticed.
What's her name? Fruithead. Sorry. The Robinsons. My mind is all over right now.
Okay.
What's yours?
My second point is if there is an argument, don't go to bed angry because it can make things worse. Talk about the things that are bothering you right away,
Yeah.
which is a struggle for me.
You've had to learn that one.
Yes. No, I've learned this in marriage because before I got married, I hate confrontation, so I would never bring things up. Even when we were dating, it was hard for me to bring something up that was bothering me. Like
Yeah.
it would take hours, sometimes days
Yeah.
of me just like it bothering me. And I'm like, I gotta say something, but I just don't want to.
Thankfully, I feel like it shows when you're in that struggle.
Yeah, I get like quieter and just kind
Yeah.
of like,
So I can kind of tell. And while I am similar to you in that I hate confrontation, even more so, I hate unresolution, not resolving things.
unresolved.
Unresolved. Thank you for correcting.
Unresolution, not resolved.
Yes. No, yeah. So even more than confrontation, I hate
Unresolved.
leaving things unresolved and
Yeah.
untaken care of because then I know that it festers and gets bad. So
Yeah.
it's just a good thing that you and I work that way. So I'll pull it out of you.
Which I hate in the moment.
Uh-huh.
But overall, it is a good thing because you should never be leaving something unsaid that's bothering you about the other person, because then it just festers and
Right. Well,
creates even bigger arguments. And
yeah. And go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say, when you like flesh things out right away when they come up, then it doesn't become necessarily like a big argument. It's just like a little
Right.
tisk with each other, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, and things don't build up and fester and blow up at some later date that's
Right.
completely unrelated.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, having that line drawn of don't let the sun go down in your anger, basically, don't go to bed angry, resolve
Yeah.
those things. So, at least by the end of the day, we're taking care of these things. Or even if it's not, we don't agree, we're saying, hey, by the way, like, I love you. Like, this isn't more important than that.
Yeah.
And this isn't more important than our marriage.
yeah,
Yeah. Because, gosh, on the flip side, if you do go to bed angry, like with me, I'll wake up before you wake up. I'll go to work. I'll go the whole day at work.
yeah. Like we won't even really see each other.
Yeah. Until
you come
until
home
I'm
for
back
it.
home.
Yeah.
And we may have forgotten about it, but it obviously was still unresolved. And then some little trigger somewhere down the line brings that up in our minds, and then
Yeah.
we're in a bad mood for some
Yeah.
reason or so. So just not letting it get to that point in the first place.
You know, it's the worst. I've had dreams before
Oh.
where you make me mad.
That
And
is
then
the
I-
worst.
I wake up, I'm like, what a jerk. But you're like gone for work, and I'm like, wait. But like, I'm not actually mad at him, but I feel mad right now. So like sometimes like on a weekend or something, if that happens, like I just got to roll over and like cuddle with you or something to be like, okay, I'm not mad. That was just a
Force
dream.
yourself out of that mindset.
Didn't really do that.
Oh, what prompts these dreams you have? I would love to know.
You know, I have no idea. Because we really don't argue that much.
No, we don't.
And so maybe in my subconsciousness, I'm like, should we be fighting more? So here's a fight in my dream.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, discussions need to happen.
Yes.
But they can be.
Talk about your feelings.
Love that. Yeah, gotta. You stay in control of your emotions in the moment, and you just say what's on your mind.
But you're really good at being like level-headed and like,
I appreciate that you think that.
which is great.
Good.
Helps with my craziness a little bit.
Yeah, you don't like freak out though.
No, I never do.
You'll get emotional, but you won't freak out.
I'm emotional sometimes. Not all the time.
And then I just engulf you in a bear hug,
Yeah.
and you put your forehead on my chest.
Yeah. So it's on your, what's next on your list?
Marriage requires sacrifice.
Ooh,
Yeah. So this is one
Please.
thing. Yeah, that
explain.
and there's a lot of these things that you hear before marriage and you know up in your mind before marriage.
Yeah.
But obviously, as you practice it, it becomes real. So, like, for instance, something I knew up here when I asked your dad to marry you, like, that's just one of the most, like, nerve-wracking moments of my life.
Yeah. You
but-
did it with my mom and my dad.
I did, yeah. But I remember your dad asking me, what does it look like for a husband to love his wife in the same way Christ loved the church? And it's like, well, in the moment, I was like, how did Christ love the church? Well, he died for her. And he was like, yes, but like everything in between the
Yeah.
day-to-day and dying for her.
Yeah.
It's like dying to yourself constantly. And so it's if I get home from work and I'm super tired and I just want to chill or something, go in the studio or play Xbox or whatever, or but either you want to spend time or you want to use the TV. I'm struggling to think of specific examples, but just the mindset of my job as your husband is to love you, and that doesn't mean I let you walk all over me.
No.
It just means that I sacrifice the things that I want to be
One thing I know you do, it's very little, but like if I'm comfy on the couch or something and my water bottle's empty, I'm like, oh no, my water bottle's empty. You'll like get up from the couch instantly and go fill it up for me. And you're just like very serving, even when I don't expect you to be. Like you're instantly, oh, here, let me get you this, let me get you that.
Well, I like you a lot.
Which is like
so.
you're sacrificing your comfort and your warmth sometimes to fix my blankets on the bed when my feet are showing.
Yeah, it's a little harder to get me up at those points. just so we're honest.
No, I know. But you still do it sometimes. And not that I'm trying to walk all over you.
No, and I don't say that you are, but people could take that to the extreme the wrong way if there is someone who is an overbearing personality and doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
They're just constantly moving out of the way for that person. Yeah, so there can be an unhealthy side of that for sure, because the husband's also supposed to be the strong foundation of the family.
Exactly.
Something needs to be said no to, then it needs to be said no to. But
yeah,
you respect me well.
Oh, thank you.
So I like to spoil you when I can.
Love moment.
Honeymoon phase.
What?
Honeymoon phase.
All right, next thing on my list is having a travel buddy for life is the best.
Oh, that is so nice. Yes.
Like all of our travels, we've gone on all of our adventures, even just like going in the mountains for a drive. Just having someone to do that with is so much fun. I know I was talking about some of the more serious things about marriage, but now I'm like getting into the more fun
That's a
things.
good one.
Like, I just love that I never have to travel alone anymore.
Well, yeah, and all those memories include each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, you kind of came into a really well-established friend group when you moved.
Yeah.
And as you became well-established in our well-established friend group, we would start reminiscing about old memories, and we would be like, you mean you weren't there? Oh, yeah, I guess that was 10 years before you showed up.
Yeah.
So it's nice those memories are becoming fewer as the new memories are becoming greater.
Because you're a very nostalgic person.
Yes. Well, and our friend group is very nostalgic.
Yes.
Yeah. We will reminisce about the exact same thing if we spend more than a week apart.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, traveling with you is really fun, and just being able to have someone in my life who also likes to travel just makes marriage fun. It is fun.
Yeah, this year will be different for us because we traveled a lot last year, and we have to pump the brakes a little bit this year.
Yeah. Save money. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay, though. We can do weekend
little drives. Yeah. Being in Colorado is nice because you can get to somewhere pretty within 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that. That reminds me, I need to finish a song I'm writing about that topic.
Oh, with me?
Yes.
It's like about me and
it's about you
traveling. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should finish that.
I should. The chorus is about like driving like with the hands out the sunroof in the moonlight and let's get out of here.
Cute.
Yeah. I think I showed it to you forever ago when I started writing, but I haven't touched it since.
That's cute.
Yeah, that'll be the season 2 of the podcast.
If you're single right now and looking for someone, I would highly suggest looking for a musician because they write songs about you. They don't make much money,
I was gonna say, there's some trade-offs.
It's fun.
Yeah. I'm glad you think of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you enjoy this ride.
Yes. What's next on your list?
That was as far as I got in a little bit. I sat down for 10 minutes.
That was like 2 things.
And then you asked if I would help set up for the podcast.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just, I wanted to make them good things to talk about. And I didn't want them to be cliche either.
Marriage is the best.
Or the people who are like, oh, marriage isn't all that.
Yeah.
Which we kind of touched on that.
We've done both sides.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, I have one more thing on my list. It's be silly together and don't take everything so seriously.
Oh my gosh, we handle that perfectly.
If you can't tell. But like, we'll just be stupid silly with each other, and we'll even like kind of mess around with each other, like not seriously, but we'll like roast each other in ways, I suppose you could say, but we never take anything seriously.
Yeah.
Well, we have our serious discussions, but
right.
we know how to be silly with each other, and I think that's so important, because when you take things seriously, like if someone says just a little something about you and you're like immediately like upset about that and mad at the person, like that will cause issues in the marriage. And so being able to take something and like make it silly and just have fun with each
just
other.
laugh about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I probably would say not all couples could handle that, because a lot of people are just real sensitive, and that's fine. But yeah,
we are not.
We have thick skin, and we enjoy each other.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we roast each other.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of an example right now, but
like if we're, what's a good example? Playing some game or bowling or something.
yeah, like we'll get competitive, but we'll never.
Like if you throw a gutter, I'll let you know about it.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Exactly.
I don't just come home and say your makeup looks weird. The face. This is why we have the video. Because it never does. I never think your makeup looks weird.
For all those people just listening and not watching the video, my face went from ecstatic to upset real quickly.
So that's the line we don't cross.
But then I laugh.
Purely for example purposes. I do not do that.
Yeah, but just be silly together.
See, and now even I'm feeling like guilty. I'm like, are you okay?
I know my makeup doesn't look weird.
Good.
Because sometimes you can't even tell if I have makeup on or not.
I just think you look gorgeous all the time.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you can be in sweats and glasses and a messy bun and like, I hit the jackpot.
Gosh, I wouldn't say that, but
Well,
that's nice. That's nice of you to say. Well, so that's all of my list, and it's just been fun being married to you. In conclusion,
oh, thank you.
I really like it, and I hope
We're not concluding the marriage, right?
No.
This is just a podcast.
Just the podcast, not the marriage.
It was more for clarification than for a joke.
Ew. And yeah, I just can't wait to learn more things and more years of marriage with you.
All the next phases and stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's real good. God is good.
God is good. Amen.
I certainly am blessed far beyond I deserve with you.
Me too. I get songs written about me. Amazing.
Glad you like them.
So in conclusion, I'm going to end with a dad joke.
Okay.
Because that's just what we do with all our podcasts.
Sounds good. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
What have we got today?
Where do pirates get their hooks?
I haven't heard this one before.
You haven't?
No.
Ooh, yay.
Where do pirates get their hooks?
You ready?
Is it simpler than I'm...
Yeah.
Go for it.
Secondhand stores.
That's pretty good.
That was a good one.
That was. I'm going to file that one away.
File it right there, no brain.
I like that one a lot. Good job, babe.
Thank you. And on that note, hope you enjoyed today's podcast. And if you would do us a favor and like, subscribe, rate, comment, whatever is available on the platform that you're listening or watching to.
Yep.
Go follow us on our Instagram, and I believe we have a TikTok page. If you do TikTok.
I don't. Do you? Apparently.
I do just for business purposes now.
Gotcha. Smart.
Yeah. So,
Well, thanks for listening,
thanks
everyone.
for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all later.
Sooner than someday.
'Cause sooner than someday, I'll start each day right by your side. I know it's been a long wait for us to finally start our lives together forever, chasing Jesus hand in hand. Sure, then someday